What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is episode 801 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I'm here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are ready to have a very chill episode today compared to yesterday. We're chilling out, and we're also saving the GONGO. Join the GONGO Mug Club.
Yes.
Because we have pinned the link to our Save the GONGO mugs.
Phil's here, by the way.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, Save the GONGO.
Yeah, Save the GONGO. The link is in the chat. It's pinned in the chat. It's also in the description. Just
Correct.
letting you know before we get started.
Yes, we do have merch.
Yeah.
If you do want to help save the GONGO, mugs in all sorts of colors. We have green, white, and then we also have, it's also in pink, but also then our very own USAID version of Save the GONGO with its own logo. The reason I love these is because I go to a lot of thrift stores, and these are exactly the type of mugs that you see at thrift stores, where it's like, it's just some special interest group you've never heard of, and you have no idea how it got there.
And if someone saw it, they wouldn't question it for a second.
Yes.
So now that that's out of the way.
Big super chat from Trudy Jones.
Never mind, Phil. Don't say anything. Trudy Jones said, a $500 cap is very dumb. Let me make bad financial decisions, YouTube. Here's the rest of the parties. We have 2 crisis parties from Trudy Jones already. Thank you so much.
There is one right there. That is good.
I guess it's not actually a chill day today.
No, not quite yet. More.
Oh, and another one. 3rd crisis party. Thank you. They just haven't gone off yet.
Yep, we will
But
get
there's
that.
the first
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
While I'm dancing, Phil, you should probably tell people who you are.
Introduce yourself.
I'm busy buying a Save the GONGO mug.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Great. Thanks for the support for the GONGO. Yeah, I'm just saying, for every mug that you purchase, we will be donating 1% of the proceeds to saving the Gonganese.
I don't know how to get there, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it'll make it there. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
it's
we got
for
that.
a good cause.
So there's not just mugs, guys. We got a bunch of new merch up, which we've finally gotten around to doing. We also have a Save the GONGO shirt.
In case the mug wasn't enough.
In case the mug wasn't enough.
And you just want to get all the GONGO swag. We delivered on that promise.
Thank you. And then it's in multiple colors. It's in pink, it's in white, it's in green. There's the 3rd one.
And there's number 3.
There's number 3. Thank you.
Why did it stop?
I think Trudy Jones broke the machine somehow.
Did you break the crisis
That's
meter?
okay. That's impressive.
I hope
we'll
that
double
that's
check
not
at
going to be
at the
an
end.
issue for the whole stream.
Yeah, we'll keep it going here, guys.
Okay.
All of the merch is linked in the description as well as in the pinned comment from today's episode. Also, per my request, we had this as well. Summer is here, so I really liked the stealth pullover. There was a zip hoodie as well, but a stealth hoodie. I'm not a big fan of logos on my shirts. As you know, I wear like a plain black shirt like every day. But we do have a PCC shirt that is black with the black TV logo in there, so it is worth checking out. So
It's
that you
classy. It's understated.
It is. You could go to a black tie dinner not wearing that.
Yeah, totally.
As an undershirt. Okay. All right, guys. We got a bunch of stuff to get
Phil,
into today.
did you want to get around to saying who
I'm
you
Phil
are?
Labonte.
Just in
You
case?
guys know who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'm here every Thursday.
We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. 3 crisis parties right off the bat. Thank you, Trudy Jones.
Yeah.
But we got a bunch of stuff to get
buying
into.
The Save the GONGO mug. Now.
amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the first
With the
person to buy
logo
one.
or just the text?
It's just the text.
All right,
but-
cool.
Gotta bring it on IRL and hold it up.
Yeah,
Yes.
promote the cause.
So, guys, hit the like button on this video. Share these videos out with your friends. The more people that you share the videos out with, the more times that you like the live streams and the episodes, the faster this channel can grow. Likes help a lot. So does sharing the show out. What are we getting into today? Well, look, I'm getting kind of tired of beating up on Rachel Zegler's whole thing going into the Snow White premiere, but alas, this is my job, and I have to do my job. My job is to talk about this. It's Mary's job as well. So Rachel Zegler with the premiere of Snow White tonight. First things first, the movie is rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, and to compound with all of that, she has got this interview that just came out with Allure that has then been copy-pasted through the likes of Variety, where they talked about her calling out out white Hollywood executives for calling into question her heritage.
Her Latina heritage.
It's a thing, so we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about that. We're also gonna talk about the entirety of the internet controversy regarding Rachel Zegler's back hair.
Hey, there's a $20 one,
Yeah.
right? Did you
Fresh
get the-
Meat said, "What did you think about The Electric State on Netflix? I thought it had promise, but felt hollow. Also, because we got so many super chats, all the crisis actors are invited to Brett's wedding. Super
There you
Phil.
go. Cheers.
That would be quite an event, but no, you're not. Unfortunately,
We don't have the
Like,
place settings, okay?
Yeah, we can't. I'll tell you what. We were at the vet last night till 3 a.m. And you know, we were talking about how much it was going to cost, and I was like, bro, we've got a wedding to pay for as well. Life is expensive. We could not afford the place settings for every crisis actor to show up at the wedding. But I would, but I respect you guys, and I wish you could come. But I'm sorry, it's we can't afford that.
Yeah, it is
So,
what it is.
as for Electric State, I have not seen it. The clips that, look, a bunch of reviews came out right away. They didn't like it. I was never going to watch it because it didn't really interest me.
Yeah, I wasn't going to watch it. I have no plans to watch it.
I don't really watch Netflix at all. I'm watching Reacher right now, and I'm watching Daredevil Season 4 and Daredevil Season 4 and Daredevil Born Again, and that's enough of pain on my heart to put me through. Like, I don't know if I could sit through the $320 million disaster that was Electric State. So, all right, we got a bunch of other stuff to get into. There are updates in the Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni ongoing saga, including Blake Lively. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are ready, we'll just go. Phil, you ready?
Let's go.
Mary, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get started.
In a recent appearance on Amy Poehler's podcast, Tina Fey sparked a massive debate over whether rich celebrities have a right or an excuse to peddle side hustles that exist outside of their main job, which is acting, singing, what have you. And Tina Fey basically said that they're greedy. They're just desperate for money, and it is a blatant cash grab when they're selling their brand of tequila or makeup or clothing lines. It could be any number of things. And I think most of Gen Z agrees with her. I'm not sure about everyone else.
Let's listen to this clip here.
Money. If I'm safe and I have enough money to live, I have a problem with rich people having a side hustle.
Yeah. You mean like a podcast or something?
No, this is you're doing work. I'm saying if you sold like
Avon?
where would my line be for you? Where would I draw the line?
So is the idea that I'm sorry for interrupting. I interrupt a lot now because it keeps us from copyright. I don't know if that would happen on here, but like, is the idea that the product has to provide value of some sort? In which case, I would say it's laughable to say that a podcast offers all that much value. There's a reason I make the joke about this being background noise.
She's saying the podcast that Amy Poehler is doing is different because it's a similar line of work. She's on camera and she's talent.
Okay.
Amy Poehler is on camera talent, and she's doing that also with her podcast. And it's not the same thing as selling, I don't know, a hair care line. It's not the same thing. This is firmly in Amy Poehler's wheelhouse. She's also saying it, she's giving Amy Poehler an excuse because they're friends.
Yes.
And she's
giving
not
her
going
the
to say
pass.
it to her face.
It's called the friend pass.
Exactly.
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like if I had a rosé,
If you, yeah,
You know what
if
I
you
mean?
already have like
Yeah.
$200 million and you're like, also I need you to.
but Tina, this is where
Well, what's-
you have to
okay.
learn from Gen Z. I'm sorry, and we have to.
They don't care. They don't judge it.
They don't judge it.
I judge it.
Well,
No, she's saying Gen Z doesn't judge it.
Yeah,
you
I
should
know,
stop
but most of the
because
Gen
this
Zers
is the
responding
thing that you have
are
to have
agreeing.
$1 million. You
Yeah.
have to have glasses.
So does that mean Hollywood only? Because Gen Z is going to follow influencers more likely than they are going to follow celebrities. And influencers love their product lines and their brand deals, right? Like there was a YouTuber recently who passed away. Did you see anything about this? I forget his name, but he died in like the laundry room of his apartment. And they were
No.
talking about how he used to get millions of views on his videos, and his videos weren't doing those numbers anymore, but he had a successful clothing line that he was selling, you know, from home and stuff like that. If you're going to work in this space, most of the time to be successful, it's not just on the ad revenue of your videos, it's on branching out into other things. Like, does anybody hold it against like Tim or Jeremy that they have coffee brands?
I don't.
Yes, some people do.
Some people do.
Well, let's just finish listening to her take here.
That was the end of this one. We've got the 31-second one here.
This is,
Yeah. Well, I have my line of children's medications.
and I told you that's so treacherous.
No, guys, by the way, one time, a million years ago, I remember seeing, and I won't name this actress, but someone could figure it out. I remember seeing a 80s actress promoting her line of homeopathic children's medications. I was like, why on this earth would I trust an actress
Yeah.
for pediatric medications?
To give to my child.
Okay.
So basically, she's saying that it's a cash grab. It's outside of what people actually like and follow you for. And you don't need the money, so it's embarrassing that you're trying to make more of it.
I hate that. There's this instinctual feeling they have to limit your ability to make anything, to expand, to grow. They love the idea of putting a cap on wealth, putting a cap on human potential. When they give you a completely random idea of what is enough. Like where do you draw the line? Some arbitrary line of we have now decided that you have made enough.
Let's see. What is Tina Fey's net worth? Again, as we always say, the estimated net worth that you find online is not always accurate. But Tina Fey is about $75 million worth as of 2025.
And if she made a product that I liked, I would buy it, and it would have nothing to do with what she was worth. I wouldn't be less likely to buy it or more likely to buy it because she's rich.
She has endorsement deals and book sales. She has a memoir. But a lot of people were pointing out, like, this seems hypocritical because I see Tina Fey doing commercials all the time.
Does she really believe in Amex? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I see commercials of her promoting Booking.com constantly. And people were saying, no, that's different. That's different. She's still doing her job as talent in those commercials. She's still acting in those commercials. So that's what she does.
Isn't that what they're doing? Okay.
But it would be different if, I guess...
So she just shouldn't own it then, right? So like saying he
Yeah.
makes his own alcohol,
Yes.
therefore he doesn't care, therefore it's somehow a grift, whereas her selling, your ability to get an Amex card with her likeness, am I supposed to believe that she's read every paper about the ins and the outs of the Amex card and credit?
Yeah.
Like I don't get it. Like they just want to put a cap on your human potential, and they want the mob to be able to tell you when you've had it, when you've made enough. And that's champagne socialism.
I will
They love
hate
it.
on something that I have seen more and more often recently, which is these rug pull shitcoin scams. I mean, it's not really massive celebrities
Yeah, where
like
is Hawk
Tina
Tuah?
Fey that are doing that, but there's obviously the example of the Hawk Tuah girl doing that and countless other influencers. They get an offer from a bunch of shady people and they're offered an immediate payout for promoting this shitcoin that then rug pulls all of their followers.
What
so
if
they lose
it's-
a bunch of money.
what if it's a
That's
product-
shitty, and that provides no value to society and no value to the people who support you.
Well, I mean, arguably
it's actually
that's a crime.
treacherous.
Like it's
and
it's a
criminal.
crime, so it's not even the same thing. Like what
Yeah.
if I saw somebody in the chat mention Martha Stewart? What if it's Martha Stewart and she's selling you her line of towels or bowls or I don't know, prison attire, whatever Martha Stewart would sell you.
We have a 20 from Pop Culture Junkie. Warner Bros. Close to selling Coyote versus Acme for $50 million to Ketchup Entertainment, the Looney Tunes movie distributor. Hope Ketchup releases it and makes billions, so Warner feels like an anvil landed on their head.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to make billions off of it. That's not
Yeah,
going to
I know.
happen. They could make some money off of it. What was the name of the studio again? I was looking. Ketchup. So I was looking into this the other day. I was like, is Ketchup Studios like some kind of subsidiary of Warner Brothers? Which then it's just funny money and pushing things from one column to the other, but it's not. So I don't know. I'll tell you what though. My completely irrational response is I don't want them to sell it because I love how much it annoys people when David Zaslav does something that makes them mad. I love watching David Zaslav piss people off. It makes me extremely happy.
So you asked earlier, are people mad at Tim for having a brand of coffee? The answer is yes.
There are people that are mad at me for like doing this because I was, I'm a successful.
When you've
musician.
talked about like you'll promote your Twitter.
There
your
are
Twitter
people
premium.
that get mad that I promote my X page, be like, subscribe to my X page, which is $2.
Yeah.
And you can get like
This
you
is
can
all-
actually
yeah, this is
come
mine.
to the Q&A that I do every month. Like you're literally getting the ability, like you can ask me questions and stuff, and it's $2. It's less than a coffee, so it's not like I'm raking in the cash here. or
Yeah.
You know what
anything,
it is? I
So-
mean, it's kind of connected, but not really. Like growing up in skating, there was nothing worse than selling out.
Yeah.
They hated the idea, and this was true
But
in music
also in
too, right,
music,
Phil? Like
yeah.
this was true in music. Like you can't sell out, you can't work for the man. Well, guess what? The man owns everything, and one of the best ways that you can continue to monetize. Look, a lot of these actors are also leveraged. Like they pay a lot of people a lot of money.
Yeah.
Whether if it's Ryan Reynolds, he's got agents, he's got lawyers, he's got managers, he's got people, assistants. He's got
I
a ton
have
of people
an
that
agent, a lawyer, a manager, and like Ryan Reynolds probably has multiple lawyers and stuff. So
Like, I have no intellectual take other than piss off. You should be allowed to make as much money as you want. And I kind of, it's indicative of further rot in the brains of Hollywood elites.
Yeah.
I want to address what they said about Gen Z in the clip too, because they were saying we need to take notes from Gen Z on this because they have no shame about not only like being the influencer or the talent that sells the product, but also buying the product when an influencer they like is selling it. They have no problem with that and no such hang up about sellout culture that millennials had. And ironically, I saw mostly responses to this from Gen Z agreeing with Tina Fey's perspective. One said, "She's right. Why the F are you a model with a tequila brand? Why are you an actress with a skincare line, an influencer with a vitamin line? Why would I participate in your senseless and meaningless cash grab?"
I've got a better question. Why not?
Why not is if it's not sold effectively to you.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at the advertisement for it and you're not sold on this adding value to your life, then don't buy it.
I've got a.
I don't know if there's anything morally wrong with it.
Yeah. Look, it's their job to sell you a product. It's your job to decide whether you want to buy it or not.
You can
It's,
also see in this clip where Tina Fey's media training kicks in. And she realizes that she could get herself into some really deep shit if she calls anybody out for this. One said, "Love Tina big time, but her hesitation to explain what she means here is absolutely her, quote, authenticity is dangerous and expensive brain stepping in. You could see her trying to scan her brain for which of her friends have products and trying not to name them."
Gwyneth Paltrow's over here like, goop out of here.
yeah, selling
Yeah.
the like.
Well, they
I don't
actually...
even know if I should say it.
They asked Gwyneth Paltrow her thoughts on Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand As Ever, which just launched its first line. And she was like, "Yeah, I don't know her."
Also remember, the people who own the other brands that you do think it's okay to buy from, they're significantly wealthier. The guy who owns the other, like if we're not talking like large scale stake or shareholders, right? Like they're very wealthy.
I'm pretty sure the majority of Sofia Vergara's wealth is from brand deals and endorsements and perfume and makeup and shoes and clothes. Not from anything that she did in movies or TV shows. Not from Modern Family.
I mean,
she didn't make her money off of Modern Family.
The royalties on Modern Family probably hit real good though.
The vast majority of her wealth is from other things, though.
So I was just curious. I was like, what are some? I decided to look up like what are some Hollywood side hustles. I was expecting it to be all alcohol brands, but it looks like BuzzFeed looked for a higher class of grifter. If we are to take Tina's
Higher class of grist.
if we're going to take Tina's ideas here and call them grifters here. So Steve Carell owns the historic Marshall Hills General Store in Marshall Hills, Massachusetts.
That's cute.
Sandra Bullock owns Walton's Fancy and Staple, a flower shop deli bakery in Austin, Texas.
I want to go.
Paul Rudd and his wife Julie Rudd are co-owners of Samuel's Sweet Shop in Rhinebeck, New York. They own that with Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Hillary Burton.
So random.
Hillary Burton, by the way, I feel really bad for because she's just allowed her hair to go gray. She's only like 42, and they make all of these like highlight reels. It's like growing old together, her and her husband Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And meanwhile, she went from like 35 to 40.
Yeah, I see those too.
Joan Cusack, well, her husband, I'm assuming that's John Cusack's wife, or her husband's having a mentee bee these days.
He's a mess.
Owns the gift shop Judy Maxwell home in Chicago's Old Town. And Lin-Manuel Miranda owns Drama Book Club, an independent bookstore in New York City. I can already picture.
So they just have like little cottage
stores.
businesses.
Miranda
instead.
Lambert owns the Pink Pistol and Boutique in Lindale, Texas. Lindale,
I
Texas.
back this.
Yeah.
Who, Miranda Lambert?
Yep.
Nice.
Kevin
That's a
Smith.
gun store, right?
No.
No?
No. It looks like it's a boutique. Kevin Smith owns Jay and Silent Bob's
Yes.
Secret Stash, a
That's-
comic store in Red
Everybody
Bank.
knows about that.
Machine Gun Kelly owns 27 Club Coffee in his hometown of Cleveland, Ohio. No wonder he's so miserable. He's from Cleveland,
So the entire point of his coffee brand is suicide.
apparently.
Like that's the
They should have got him to play
the
a character.
27 Club is his brand.
They should have gotten him to play a character in 13 Reasons Why. Jensen Eccles owns the brewery Family Business Brewing Company in Dripping Springs, Texas, with his wife Danielle Eccles and his brother-in-law. And Ree Drummond owns the Pioneer Woman. She was a Pioneer Woman on the Food Network. Owns the Pioneer Woman Mercantile, and
Super popular.
yeah. So there
You
you
know
have
what?
it.
Good for them.
And guess what? Every one of them should make as much money as they want,
Mm-hmm.
because you're stupid for telling them they shouldn't.
Well, Netflix just unveiled their latest race swap character. It's not Cleopatra. I think this is arguably worse. So they're releasing this limited series called Adolescence, and I just want to go through the synopsis. A crime drama series that centers around Jack Thorne. That's not the name of the character. The character is Jamie Miller, a 13-year-old boy who is arrested for murdering his classmate. It delves into themes of toxic masculinity and the pressures faced by young men today. His family, therapist, and detective in charge are left questioning what really happened after the murder of his classmate, Katie Leonard. And a lot of people are praising this for its cinematography. They're filming each episode in a continuous shot, or at least what looks like one. That's not really the point, though. People are wondering if this is based on a true story. And if it is, it's a blatant race swap and an anti-white one at that. Based on the case of Hassan Sentamu in South London, who stabbed 15-year-old Eliane Ndam in September 2023. Mm-hmm. Hassan Sentamu was sentenced to a minimum of 23 years for that murder, and he was sentenced at the age of 18, but was 17 at the time of the crime. And allegedly, this is one of several knife crimes in the UK that ultimately inspired the creation of this show, Adolescence, and all of its themes about what might be motivating these young boys to commit such heinous attacks.
One thing that would be good to point out, just from the 30,000-foot view, is people are calling it a race swap, which makes them think specifically that they kept I'm not saying they're saying this, but
yeah.
The way that's being put into your head from the people criticizing this, though there is plenty of things to criticize, they're making it seem like they took the name of the person who did the crime and then just made him a different race. That's
right.
not what this is. Yeah. The character, which is a new name, was inspired by specific crimes. They just simply chose a white actor. And it is a race swap. It's just not the one-to-one thing that you're thinking of. I'm just trying to make that clear.
So I looked into this, and a specific interview they did with Stephen Graham, who is a showrunner and also stars in the show as 13-year-old's dad.
Well, that's just presumptuous, all right?
So is Adolescence based on a true story? While Jamie's story specifically isn't based on a real person or event, the idea for the series sprung from reports that Stephen Graham heard about on the news of young boys involved in knife crimes. There was an incident where a young boy allegedly stabbed a girl. It shocked me. I was thinking, what's going on? What's happening in society where a boy stabs a girl to death? What's the inciting incident here? And then it happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again.
And
I really
remember,
just wanted to shine a light on it and ask, why is this happening today? What's going on? How have we come to this? And then in a separate interview, Stephen Graham says, you look at it and you see that we're all kind of accountable to an extent. There's failings within the school system. There are situations where the education system can look at this. Look at what's happened with that kind of rise in misogynistic tendencies. He also says that he hopes this show is going to start a conversation, cause discussion, and make change in Parliament in the UK, and specifically focused on social media's toxic influence and the manosphere. Which brings us to the ridiculous references that were made in the trailer, which I'd like to show for context.
I got it here. Oh, did it? Oh, there it is down there. Hold on. It's this one down there?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go, guys. Go to 4.
How does that...
Oh, boy.
I'm ugly. How does that make you feel? Aren't you supposed to say I'm not ugly?
What I think isn't important.
Yeah, you don't say the things normal people say, do you?
Well, how would you feel if I did say you're not ugly?
I just don't know why you don't say the things normal people say.
You thought I should have contradicted you when you said your dad was ashamed of you, and you think I should contradict you now when you tell me you think yourself ugly?
I don't know.
I'm interested in the fact that you think you're ugly, Jamie.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
I'm interested in it because what you think is more important to me than what is true, okay? So how do you feel about being
It's
ugly?
actually the Netflix tweet.
It's not this one?
Yeah,
It's
that's not the
okay.
trailer. It's
All
the
right.
Netflix tweet.
Hold on here. There it is. Here we go.
Police! What are you looking for? You're making a big mistake. And he's only a kid.
Dad, I haven't done anything!
He's a good kid. Jamie, I want you to listen carefully.
What's going on?
I'm going to start off with asking you.
Do you know a girl called Katie Leonard? Yeah? Describe each other as friends then.
Is she dead then?
Why would you ask her?
Well, you're at a police station.
So do you think it would be okay if we speak about it?
I haven't done anything. You're a good dad, a great dad.
He hasn't been found guilty. He's been accused. What have you done?
Banged by a girl, you sausage.
You're not getting it. What am I not getting?
Dad, you're not reading what they're doing. It's a call to action by the manosphere. 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men. You must trick them because you'll never get them in a normal way.
We've done nothing wrong, have we? Hey!
Look at me now!
It's crazy what your brain tells you to do when you're a kid.
So
Okay.
I don't know who that character was, but one of the characters in that trailer says that this murder is a call to action for the manosphere. The fact that you're using the term manosphere in the show completely makes me check out. I'm not interested anymore. It's so chronically online.
It takes like 2 rewrites to find something more layered than that.
Yeah, we have a 20 from Dreamcast Night. This guy is giving big reading chair energy. The story is lame. They want to tell a story about a crime, but they don't have the guts to tell the real story. So they use the crime as a club to bludgeon a group not involved. Exactly. So, like, let's call a spade a spade. There is a knife crime epidemic in the UK, largely because of criminality from immigrants or people directly descended from immigrants. So if we're talking about Hassan Satamu specifically, I looked into that case a little bit. So Satamu had a history of attacking girls and carrying knives. He killed 15-year-old Eliane and Dam in a frenzied attack. The trigger for the attack was a dispute over a teddy bear, and Eliane had stood up for her friend to retrieve it from Sentamu. He was arrested after the incident, found guilty of murder and possession of a knife after a jury rejected his claim that his autism affected his ability to exercise self-control. And Sentamu's ex-girlfriend described his demeanor as similar to a character from the crime drama Top Boy and realized something was wrong when he turned up wearing gloves and a mask. Sentamu's lawyer explained that his violent streak and anger stemmed from his troubled childhood, which included fleeing Uganda from domestic abuse and spending time in foster care. So we know that this is a refugee from a low-trust society in a third-world country, and that's generally the profile of people committing these attacks, including also Axel Rudakobana, who was guilty of the Southport stabbings of little girls attending a Taylor Swift-themed dance class in 2024. Similar story also inspired this show, when it has nothing to do with incel forums and the manosphere and everything to do with migrant crime. Alejandro Reyes said, I caught up on the stream yesterday right after you finished. Also, I think we can all agree Britain is beyond hope.
Would this, would your opinions on this be different if the director had not made any allusions to what he was making it about? It's not like there haven't been stories in the past about evil kids, or at least Criminal Minds had more than a few episodes with kids that end up being psychopaths and stuff like that. And it was not, there was no racial component. But the second he mentions, knife crimes in the UK, anybody who's paying attention to the news knows that the shift would have been nothing to do with the manosphere and everything to do with what immigration reform looks like going on there. So if the director hadn't said anything about that and it was just a story, and okay, actually I have to rephrase. Either way, you're going to criticize it because including the word manosphere is extremely lame and extremely ham-fisted, so it comes off extremely stupid. But then the discussion would just be about look at this ham-fisted version of propaganda as opposed to look at this ham-fisted version of propaganda that's not connected to the other thing that they claim it's about. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if he had just kept his mouth shut and not talked about that and said, we wanted to explore how misogynistic radicalization is showing itself in the UK, we would all roll our eyes, but it would be a completely different discussion.
Right. Yeah. I think they should have kept their mouths shut.
And they don't, like, I don't, obviously, I haven't seen the show, but they don't have any self-awareness either. Like, all of this, the quote-unquote misogynistic blah, 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 this is a reaction to an entirely feminist, basically society. And then the dad was crying next to him in the in the interrogation room. This is the perfect time.
It's always at the perfect time.
We're talking about serious things, and it's ridiculous.
Okay.
So anyway, murder.
But the point is, like, we've had decades and decades and decades of actual, essentially telling young men that they're the worst. They're the biggest problem society has, et cetera, et cetera. And now there are young men, not just in the United States, which is it's clear that it's happening in the United States, but it's happening all over the world. Men are moving away from leftist ideas. That's because the left has nothing for young men. They only demonize them. They treat them like garbage. They have absolutely nothing good to say about young men. I mean, look at what's going on with that Harry Sisson guy. Not like I'm pro Harry, but like, he does dumb things that young guys do, right? And I'm not, he was lying to women to get nudes, which is kind of a scummy move. But the whole Democrat establishment immediately tosses him under the bus for doing a dumb thing that young guys do. This kind of stuff is entirely predictable, and making movies like this, especially in the context of the UK, which is extremely left-leaning, is even more left-leaning than the United States, it's terrible for young men. It's terrible for relations between men and women, and it's terrible for the future of Western society. Honestly, not that this is going to destroy Western society on its own, but that is the situation. It's the reality that we live in.
Well, it's not just anti-male. I think it's specifically anti-white male.
In
this
America,
trend.
the American version of this, if they were to do it, would be to take inspiration from the Catholic school shootings last year and making it just a Catholic white guy that shot the white kid that shot up the school.
You mean the one that identified as trans?
Yes. Yeah. It would be like taking that story as inspiration and turning it around.
About male rage, just because
Yes,
like the
exactly.
shooter was female but identified as male,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they say the showrunners and the director grew fascinated by the question of male rage and started thinking about themselves as men, fathers, partners, and friends, and questioning with intensity who they were as people, particularly as men. Thorne says, that is a journey I've never gone on as a writer before, and scared me and excited me because it felt like we had something to say. You have nothing of value to offer.
The sad thing is there's a world of interesting stories to tell that just will never be touched.
Yeah.
Because it's not socially acceptable to touch them.
They could have just presented this as a story they made up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Instead of referring to this as
a
conversation starter for Parliament to enact policies around incel forums or something.
It's like that. What was that? The episode of like The Good Doctor that we watched with the guy who was
the incel killer.
That writing is more ham-fisted and to be expected when you watch network TV and they've got to fill 22 episodes a year. And some writers like, I read this freaking article in Axios, like this is kind of interesting. And then they're like, oh yeah, incels, put that in the script.
Yeah. This is more calculated.
Yes,
for sure.
But just as ham-fisted.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on then.
Well, we didn't have enough time to talk about this yesterday, but I'm glad that we're covering it. Carrie-Anne Moss recently did an interview where she talked about the hiatus she took from acting in order to focus on motherhood and raising her kids. And this was after The Matrix blew up and was a huge opportunity for her, and she was being offered huge roles in Hollywood left and right. And she decided to turn down major roles in favor of spending time with her family. This is in an interview with The Independent. She said, I'm so glad that I did that, meaning she gave up her Hollywood career after The Matrix. After The Matrix was such a big deal, I took a big break to have children and be with them. I remember being torn, having a little twinge like, gosh, I'm getting offered such great things. That would be such a huge deal. And I was holding my baby in my arms. And I remember thinking, at the end of my life, will it matter to me that I have another movie on my resume? Or will it matter to me that I held my baby? And I instantly thought, no, it was just a no-brainer. And I'm so glad I did that. I'm so glad I don't have that regret. For my career, maybe not so much, but that was the greatest decision I ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of people responding to this, thinking maybe there is still hope for society.
Well, I mean, this was 20 years ago, so that
it was a long time
This would
ago.
be more impressive if it was a younger actress that was saying this, but it wasn't. It was
For context, she has 3 children, 2 sons born in 2003 and 2005, and a daughter born in 2009 with her husband, who is a much smaller actor than her.
Isn't this a common opinion by people that do step away from the limelight, and they're like, this was the best decision I could have possibly made? Rick Moranis did that. Like, I think his wife...
His was out of necessity. His wife died.
Yeah, his wife died, but like, even still, like, you know, he stepped away from what was a very lucrative career, and, you know, he clearly doesn't regret it from all the stuff that I've heard, you know. He didn't come back to acting, if I understand correctly.
They were going to bring him back for Ghostbusters, and then he got punched in the face in New York City, and he was never seen again.
It was January that Aubrey Plaza's husband committed suicide, and then you see her 2 months later hosting at the Golden Globes. I just find that really anti-human.
Did you see the thing I sent you? It was like, Aubrey Plaza was found to be separated from her husband for 4 months. Coroner's report indicates, and they're like, "What the hell test did they run to know that?"
What?
But it's like a question that's filled out.
Oh,
on
so
the
they
form.
had separated, but they weren't
Divorced.
notifying the public about it.
Yeah, they were. Like, it was just funny because they're like, the coroner's report indicated. They're like, "What test did they run on the body to know that they were separated?" I have no idea. It's like your Aubrey Plaza levels are dangerously low. How do you do that?
So similarly, Carrie-Anne Moss also decided to leave Hollywood in recent years. Her and her family left Los Angeles to pursue a quieter life in New Hampshire. After her 30-year career in Hollywood, they went to New Hampshire. Her and her husband, Stephen Roy, back in 2020, seeking more connection to nature and a simpler lifestyle.
Very, very base decision.
I wonder what that means to her. What does that mean to connect with nature? I mean, like, you don't have to go to one of those lame parks in California where you have to run into a bunch of crunchy hippies that are all, like, you know, trust fund kids.
She mentioned the importance of seeing the stars at night and being surrounded by trees.
Yeah.
Well, there are places in California that are like that, but not where you're going to be getting work in Hollywood. Yeah, obviously. So yeah, she's a New Hampshire
I think
stan.
it's illegal to look at the stars in California.
Oh, I
read recently that, or I was watching an interview that most auditions now in Hollywood are all recorded and sent in.
Ever since COVID,
like
right?
since COVID, like very few of them are done.
That must take away so much.
There's a lot of discussions about actors who talk about how like they actually lose out because their ability to kind of read a room and read what the director might want is actually a skill set that they have that's easier to do if you're there in person as opposed to just sending in a recorded version of it. Like they'll be like, okay, they ask you to do this scene, you do it, and you're like, what would you do you want something different? Do you want it to be done this way? And you can be more collaborative, whereas if you're just sending in a tape, all they're doing is getting a prefab version of yourself that makes it a lot harder.
Yeah.
So but all I'm saying is like that might be a reason why a lot of the more well-known celebrities are just moving out. Like, look, if all I have to do is send in audition tapes, I don't have to fly in. And even them, like, she's at the tax bracket. I'm sure that doesn't really matter, right?
A lot of people are going to see a story like this and they're going to think, well, that's nice for her, but most people are never going to have such a luxury. And to a degree, like, yes, totally. I mean, I'm sure that she's mega rich off of The Matrix and the roles that she had before she took her hiatus, but it doesn't mean that it's entirely not achievable for ordinary people. And I did the math. So she was 31 when the first Matrix movie came out, right?
Yeah. And even that by Hollywood standards is on the old side at that time when you would have been in your early 20s to do that role.
And then the third came out in what year?
2007? Am I wrong about that?
Really?
When did the third? Was it 2004? Something like that.
I bet that it was 2004. But she's saying she had her first son in 2003, her second son in 2005. So maybe she took a step back directly after the third part came out.
2003 and 2003, yeah. So they Reloaded and Revolutions were both 2003.
Okay, yeah. So she must have gotten pregnant like directly after filming the third movie in the trilogy and then took a step back from her career following that. And by that point, she's like about mid-30s. And then she goes on to have 3 kids total with her husband. I like that she just did that without a conceit about I don't know, fitting into a certain mold. Like when people say you can have it all, it actually looks like that. It means you can have both things at different times.
Yes.
And she prioritized her career until she was about 35.
I mean, yeah, she didn't even necessarily do it early. She was in her mid-30s by the time she got there.
Yeah, I think people lose sight of that type of nuance.
Yeah.
And they also want to spread these like doomer messages like you could never do this, only she can do this because she's rich.
Well, and for these cases, it's perspective is important. There's only so many movie franchises that elevate an actress to that stature where this is plausible. There's plenty of television actresses who, you know, they get really successful and they have to either be written out for a portion of a season. I mean, Gillian Anderson was like always pregnant on the set of the X-Files. Like that frumpy coat did half the work for her in the early seasons of the X-Files. She got pregnant, I think, right away in season 1 or something like that. And she was only 23 at that time, something like that. So, you know, weirdly enough, it seems like if you're a big enough star, they're willing to work with you.
Well, Megan Fox famously said that pregnancy is equivalent to leprosy in Hollywood. And that's the consequence that she faced in her career after she started her family.
I wonder if that's connected to, like, I mean, she wasn't doing TV at that time. Has Megan Fox ever done TV? Like, it's different if you're on a show 9 months out of the year, like on network TV, and then they have to worry about writing around you, and then suddenly there's bookcases in front of you and stacks of folders in front of you to hide your pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I think that she had her first in, what was that, 2008, 2007?
So, like, right after the first Transformers movie? Megan Fox? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
But it was, like, refreshingly honest that she was willing to admit that they, like, in Hollywood, that's just not a value they have.
And it's, well, because structurally it's not pragmatic
work.
for the business model. Like, and I'll give them credit. Like, whenever one of these, whenever I'd watch DVD commentaries on these shows where the star or one of the main stars did get pregnant, they never, like, overly patted themselves on the back. Like, look at the thing we did. Like, look how great we are for letting her keep working.
Oh.
They would more talk about the logistic challenges of, like, what it was like. Okay, so now her face is twice normal size. Poppy Montgomery was like that too. Her face got really, really fat and just you didn't know how to explain it. So this would happen with television actresses regularly. And Hollywood did a lot better job getting women in front of the screen and leading roles on TV long before movies, on a more consistent basis. Not that women didn't lead movies before that, but there was a hell of a lot more girl bosses on TV than there were in movies for a longer period of time.
Do you think they anticipated the success of The Matrix before it came out?
No, I don't think so.
I feel like it's sort of like what happened with Twilight, because they literally thought it was just going to be a flash-in-the-pan indie movie and had no idea.
And then they shot the second two back-to-back. I think they expected the second two to be more successful than they ended up being.
Pretty rough.
And, like, let's just not even talk about the rest of it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on then. Let's see Cringe and Cute today. What would you like to see?
Phil wants to see Cringe first.
Cringe?
Yes.
Okay, you did send it, right? I got to make sure that I have it here.
Do you have
Do
it?
I have it? Making sure. Yes, I do. I do.
Okay.
Here we go. If you're listening, it says POV, 1 minute you're living the dream in Thailand, the next you're in a nightmare. My gosh.
Go away. Fuck off. Oh
it
my
gets
fucking
so
God.
much better, like, just second by
No, why is
second.
it doing that? My God.
Is that Rafiki from The Lion King?
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. No, stop. Oh my fucking God. No. Go away. Oh my God, there's more. Oh shit. No shit. Oh shit. Oh
I've seen this B movie before. It never ends well.
No.
He's drinking the chlorine.
Oh my God, there's a whole family. I'm scared.
Why are you such a dandy?
Shit. Shit. Oh my God, there's loads.
Oh, because it's chlorinated water.
Relax,
Don't
Nancy.
you dare come near me.
No, you'll see
Oh,
why he's
fuck.
freaking out in a second.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
He's crying.
I'm scared. Oh fucking hell, that looks scary. Oh shit me. Oh fucking shit. Oh fuck off, don't come near me. Don't come. No! No! My fucking God.
They're surrounding him.
Shit.
This is the best part. He gets out.
No! No! Ah! No! Ah!
They chase him.
Ah! Oh shit! Oh shit! Shit!
Oh my God.
I don't know. I would be reacting the same way, if not worse.
Of course you would. You're like.
I
5
am
foot and 100
terrified
pounds.
of monkeys. Really.
Maybe if you quit screaming and offer them a beer like a proper host. All right.
The way it started growling at him was crazy.
All right, let's do Cute of the day, guys. This one's from LA Million. Says, hi, Donnie here, having a sleepover with one of my fave humans, Lil G, as the internet knows him. My humans are the best. Did you know they adopted me? Yes, they did. That's a very cute puppy.
Very cute.
All right, guys, remember, I saw somebody asked yesterday how they can submit for cringe, for Cute of the day. Tag me at Brett Dasovic on X and post the picture of your pet. Pictures are better than videos, so they don't start playing randomly throughout the episode. And tag it, hashtag PCC Pets. Okay.
All right. So I originally thought that Disney's crisis PR management plan for Rachel Zegler was they were only going to let her sing. They weren't going to be having her doing any interviews because that seems to never go well. I thought that until this cover story was published with Rachel Zegler in Allure magazine. And after reading through it, it might be the worst one yet. It might be worse just on account of what this journalist is doing to her. And Rachel Zegler, if you know anything about her, she always takes the bait. She's all too happy to jump on the opportunity to talk about race and about herself in the most obnoxious way possible. So they immediately tackled the culture war issue of her race and, of course, being cast as Snow White. This is the peak hubris of woke, I think. That wouldn't happen today, but the casting took place in 2019, I believe, right?
2021.
Was it?
2021.
I couldn't remember if it was pre or post COVID.
Yeah.
But it was before she had even been seen on
2019,
screen in West Side Story.
Yeah.
So it might have been 2020 or 2021.
Yep.
Here's what the journalist says. I'm just going to blame most of this on the journalist, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know who I hate more. Snow White isn't just any fairy tale, it's the fairy tale, and this casting set comment sections on fire. The backlash was familiar. Halle Bailey's casting as Ariel in The Little Mermaid had already sparked a similar firestorm. Some decried it as another example of woke Hollywood forcing diversity, claiming audiences were tired of identity politics in entertainment. Others mocked the film with dismissive nicknames. I think she's talking about Snow Brown. And then there were those who framed it as an attack on tradition, arguing the classic European folklore shouldn't be tampered with. Now, Zegler, whose mother's family is Colombian, finds herself at the center of a culture war she never signed up for. She quite literally did sign up for it, though. Like, she actually did sign off on performing this job, which she knew the implications that came with it. If she's fine with that, okay, sure. But don't say that she was completely taken aback and completely, a fool, had no idea that this was a culture war issue. There's that too. But also, she is actually stirring up most of the culture war controversy with things that she said about the original Snow White. It was never really the race swap that was the center of attention. And that's what these journalists are being so disingenuous about in these recent interviews, acting like the entire controversy was about that. So they also argue that Rachel Zegler isn't, as the Brothers Grimm put it in 1812, white as snow, which is arguably a reference less to race than to nobility, as aristocrats didn't labor in the sun. So they're actually trying to claim that the phrase white as snow in the Grimm fairy tale had nothing to do with the race or complexion of the character and more to do with her nobility status. That stupid argument aside, we don't even need to debunk. What I just wish they could do is show some respect and admit we didn't want a white person to play this character.
Think that other people would have the same respect as well? They'd be like, at least they're admitting it.
At least just with some honesty, like some mutual respect, even though we hate each other. You could just say, like, we wanted a brown person to play this role because we think that white people are on screen too much. Like, we just want less white people in the movie.
The sheer number of controversies makes it almost irrelevant. So this is just one of many. I was going to ask you the hypothetical. Like, if they had cast, I don't know, Anya Taylor-Joy. I'm trying to think of like the whitest person I can think of right now. Like, if they had cast Anya Taylor-Joy, right? And she said the same things at the beginning, you know, mainly showing disrespect for the original source material. And then the other controversies that happened as well, meaning the dwarves and all of that stuff. If all of those controversies had also happened, she's still in it with Gal Gadot, who's pro-Israel at a time when there's just a segment of the Disney fan base that seems to be itching to complain about it, either because they're wholly in support of Zegler or they're just, you know, like that, I guess. I don't think it would have saved it at all. I think that the controversies would be just the same. You'd just be adding slightly one less.
Yeah, I agree. And that's, I mean, they're completely ignoring that part of the conversation. That was not even addressed in this long cover story at all. Most of it was about race. And, you know, they also wax poetic here in a way to paint a picture in your mind of Rachel Zegler as the victim. I'm struck by how petite Zegler is. Like a baby bird with eyes wide as saucers. It's only her unmistakable Garden State accent that reminds me this doll-like vision wasn't crafted by Disney Imagineers. And it's impossible not to feel the weight of every eye on her. Not just Disney fans, but the critics who see her casting as part of a larger debate.
Well, then think about it this way.
She's getting crushed. Her petite little body is getting crushed under the weight of bigotry.
Take all of those descriptors that you just read and then imagine the absolute gall of having the opinions that she does, or at least the forceful opinions that she tries to shove on people, while being that tiny. Like,
can't back it up.
Have you ever heard the Chris Rock skit when he talks about men and women? He talks about like, oh, there's nobody who's more likely to embarrass you in a restaurant than a woman who knows you're not going to hit her. And then he talks about, as a man, there's a zone you don't go into because you know if you say that to a dude who's bigger than you, he's going to beat the crap out of you. The online version of that now is like everyone, and it's not just Rachel Zegler, everyone wants to dish it out. Nobody wants to take it back. Not physically, but arguably sometimes worse. The psychological damage it's done from being the punching bag of the internet these days is probably something that should be studied in some fashion, of what happens when 10 million souls descend upon you to share their opinions. But the only way to avoid that is to have no opinions at all, because eventually you're going to end up having an opinion that upsets enough people. In this case, she picked the wrong time early on in 2022 when all of this stuff going on was still even more of a hot button issue than it is now. She was cast at a time where this would have been an even more blatant decision. And she actually had a quote in here that I wanted to reference, if you don't mind. Like, she says, "My only prayer for the future of diversity and inclusion is that we invest and nurture talent no matter what they look like." Now, that's actually perfectly fine. It's just you're ignoring the fact that you took specific stories and made it its own way, and you rebranded it in the image of somebody else, despite the fact that it was a Germanic piece of folklore. There are all sorts of storytellers that tell extremely diverse stories that don't get any of the pushback. Tyler Perry gets no pushback other than people maybe not liking his movies. Jordan Peele has carved out his own niche in Hollywood, that he tells stories that are specifically geared towards race that tend to be highly critically acclaimed. And at the very least, the first one was both critically and professionally loved, right? By both the public and the professionals. Spike Lee. There's all sorts. And if we're talking closer to Rachel Zegler, like Guillermo del Toro, Alfonso Cuarón, Robert Rodriguez. Like, there's so many people that have worked in the industry for decades that never had these issues and continue. Oddly enough, most of those last names you still don't hear issues about. No, those are directors, not actors, but they get to tell their own stories, right? Desperado was made in like 1995. But it was an original, at least I think it was an original story. Nobody cared because Antonio Banderas was cool.
Yeah.
Like, society is not going backwards. You have ruined your form of storytelling because you're inching in on stuff that just wasn't 20 years ago. And even when it was, say, Cinderella with Brandy was extremely popular at that time. And the argument that I've always made to Mary is that race swap matters less when the actor is well known. Because you may still have the 60% that really hate it based on principle, and I understand that correctly or completely, but there's going to at least be a segment of that population who's going to say, I don't like it, but it makes sense because Denzel Washington is a big star. Because Brandy is a big star. She, unfortunately, in the Hollywood sense of it, is not a big star.
I think if 10 years ago they made a live-action Snow White starring Selena Gomez, it would have been a massive hit.
Nobody cared about
by all because they love Selena Gomez.
What about Camila Cabello did that that one?
The Camila Cabello Cinderella was widely hated.
Yes,
actually.
but not because of race, right?
Nobody likes
bad.
her. Nobody
and
likes her.
It had Billy Porter in it.
Yeah, that too. So they chalk a lot of this up to bad timing with Trump winning the election, and now Snow White is coming out. They say the debate over who gets to embody a fairy tale princess carries a new weight right now. But the fact is that Latinos are the fastest growing demographic in the U.S., a presence that will only continue to shape this country. If young Latinas see themselves in Snow White, it's not a rewriting of history. It's an acknowledgement of the country as it is today.
Who's the one? Avalon? What's the other princess that they have at Disney that doesn't get as much play?
No idea.
Doesn't get as much play?
Yeah, it doesn't get as much attention. It's only been done animated live action, not live action.
Tiana?
No, not that.
I'm not sure. And they go on to say, how did she land the job? This question far too often is one that women, especially women of color, are forced to answer, which is rarely asked of white men. It's offensive on its face, and I cringe at the thought of how to broach this subject over our interview. And, just picture them in the setting of this extremely posh, beautiful cafe in Bergdorf Goodman in Manhattan. And we're talking about two of the most privileged people who have ever lived on this planet. And they are commiserating with each other about how hard it is to be Latina in this country and the questions, the microaggressions that people make towards you.
Elena of Avalor. I remember this because the young actress in it at the time, Amy Carrera, was considered the first Latin Disney princess.
I hadn't heard of her before. I don't usually see her in the lineup.
But that's the thing. Jenna Ortega was in this. This was animated, right?
Yeah.
Like, they could easily do this live action, but they don't.
Zegler has had ample time to reflect on the question we both know I have to ask, and she doesn't flinch. So here's Rachel Zegler's explanation for why she got the role or how she landed the job, despite being relatively unknown and also not matching the description of the character. The reality is, I was given a chance because I could sing. Yeah. That's pretty much it. That's all that matters. She's saying she auditioned for Snow White before West Side Story had released, so they hadn't seen her on screen at all. They only had her audition to watch. They saw something they could invest in for the future. And Mark Webb, the director, says Snow White has an optimistic, youthful grace. Even in darkest moments, she finds humanity and beauty in others. I think Rachel has that in her spirit. I'm literally, in my head, I'm seeing Rachel Zegler at 3 a.m. typing on her phone the Instagram story rant toward Trump supporters, hoping that they never know peace. Yes, she has a lot of beauty and humanity in her soul. It doesn't hurt that during her screen test, she made us weep with her rendition of Waiting on a Wish. Yeah, she's a good singer. I guess that's her main selling point.
It's going to be enough to carry this movie for a lot of the kids. Yeah. It will. Like, this movie, I don't think is going to make... It's looking to open to $100 million, and I think they say, like, you make a third of your box office in that opening weekend, so... It's not going to make a ton of money, at least if all of the numbers indicate that. It's sitting negative on Rotten Tomatoes. It's at 45%. So it is rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. But I thought this was funny. I'm sorry for dragging it back here, but Elena of Avalor was the first Latino Disney princess. Instead of representing just one culture, she represents multiple Latino traditions and customs. They could tell this story. They could virtue signal to the high heavens, and it would actually make sense because they're actually telling an individual story. Nobody complains about Moana when they do cultural storytelling. Nobody cares because it's its own character.
The response to the Lilo and Stitch trailer so far has been explosive.
Unbelievably positive.
Like no one is mad about diversity in that scenario. But that's where I have to bring it back to this one specific rage bait line. Rachel Zegler says white studio executives would scrutinize her on her Latina heritage. They say further down, as Latinas born in the U.S., Rachel and I share a cultural identity and a similarly complex relationship with how we're perceived. Wait, you're Hispanic? You don't look it. It's a phrase I've heard more times than I can count. And she says, there's confusion because I don't have a single ounce of Latin in my name. When I was in the running for Maria in West Side Story, they kept calling to ask if I was legit. I remember thinking, do you want me to bring my abuelita in? I will. I'll bring her into the studio if you want to meet her. She then expresses bemusement at having a bunch of white executives have you prove your identity to them. It's an interesting experience being part of that diaspora in the current climate we live in, but I love being Colombian.
So look, the white executives were probably Jewish, and Spanish is a European language, and all Latin America is like mostly descended of Spanish. You're white. So just blew up your whole theory there.
Also, if we're going to be more esoteric,
galaxy brain,
if you want to be more esoteric about it, like if you want to make content based on identity, don't be surprised when the corporate voices behind that content want to double check to make sure that they're not going to get in trouble down the line for casting the wrong person. I was talking to someone the other day about this. They said, why was Ben Affleck allowed to play Tony Mendez in Argo? It's like, why? Because Ben Affleck funded the movie and he talked to Tony Mendez beforehand about it, and the guy's like, yeah, that's fine. But you know what would happen now if they tried to do that? It was just a studio casting Timothée Chalamet as Tony Mendez. People would be like, I don't know. I don't know if that works, right? Like, and that would make perfect sense. Why would you do that? But these executives are just trying to protect their asses down the line when people eventually call it into question, because plenty of people are obsessed with talking about this stuff.
Disney had a similar controversy when they accidentally hired someone for Lilo and Stitch that wasn't Hawaiian. They hired someone who was a citizen of the state of Hawaii,
but wasn't
ethnically Hawaiian, and it was an entire shitstorm that they had to tend to. And for a similar reason, I'm sure that's why they were asking and making sure that Rachel Zegler is Latina. Like, obviously that's something that would happen, but she's twisting it into something where, it's a sob story. It's just another sob story. And that's how they go through this entire interview. There's a fundamental misunderstanding about those of us considered DEI hires. We're not here to check a box. We're here to carry on the cultural traditions of our abuelitas, to enjoy our arepas and habichuelas. Whether you think we're too Latina or not Latina enough, whatever we're called on to do, we're here to get the job done. And then she talks about how all of these celebrity women, from Ariana Grande to Helen Mirren to Lucy Liu, Jamila Jamil, who was one of the worst, there are all of these celebrity women who are coming to her aid and supporting her behind the scenes because it's so emotionally taxing to be Snow White these days.
Lucy Liu has been successful for 20 years. 20 years in the industry. And further proof that America never needed an excuse to like people, like actors, like actresses, like performers of different races and genders. It was never the problem.
O.J. Simpson was super, super loved by everybody until he cut someone's head off.
Rachel Zegler could learn a lot from the example of the actions of those actresses from a previous generation, not what they say to her, because they're just going to tell her what she wants to hear.
Lucy Liu didn't just get to be a famous actress for 20 years. She then got to play a race and gender swapped Watson in a television show about Sherlock Holmes, and still nobody hated her.
Take notes.
Take notes,
Zegler.
ladies and gentlemen. You could learn a thing or two. Lucy Liu was in what was it? Red One.
Red Dawn.
No. She was in Red One with The Rock and Chris Evans, and even then, I'm like, wow, she has like her role is like designed to be boring, and she still had more charisma on screen than both of them put together. So, all right, let's move on. So we're not done yet, sadly.
No, we're not done yet. We still have to talk about Rachel Zegler's back hair. Aren't you excited? This is the newest controversy surrounding Snow White. Snow White is visibly showing back hair in these red carpet photos that have gone massively viral on X with over 100 million views at this point. I'm honestly shocked that it's reached as many people as it has. With everything that she said that you could be legitimately mad about, this is what really catches with people. Here you can see in this photo, if you can pull it up. Do you have the tweet?
I don't, but I've got just the picture here.
Here, let me send you the tweet because they like changed the lighting and you can see it more clearly.
Yeah, this was
And
insane.
they captioned it, "This is why Disney is about to lose $300 million. So I don't know if we have the microscope here. We can zoom in real close. You can see, Rachel Zegler is here on the red carpet. And you can see in this high definition photo that she has back hair. And she has actually been bullied for this in the past. I wasn't even aware, but someone teased her for her back hair in 2023, and she responded to them saying, "No, I think hair is natural and cool," heart emoji. And that's, I guess, the end of story on that. A lot of men were saying that this woman is objectively unattractive and should not be the star of a movie. I disagree. I think that Rachel Zegler is really pretty. Back hair aside, I think that, she should have just played someone other than Snow White.
Yes. Like I said, do the Elena of Avalor movie.
I mean,
and people will go see it.
she's Latina and, ethnically is more likely to have a trait like this, like darker hair, thicker hair.
This just feels like people...
She shouldn't play literally Snow White. That's self-evident. I think that's why this is going viral.
But now we're not even talking about that. We're talking about they've latched on to something else because the news cycle demands it leading up to the release of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just felt like a reach to me. Like people were making a whole thing about this.
Another one said, "I can shave her." One of the comments said, "OMG, WTF, no way that's real."
I'll read you this
"I'm
tweet
glad
that I
my
saw.
supper was fully digested and unable to repeat on me. This is just disgusting."
I'll read you this tweet here. "The thousands of angry men in my replies proving that porn culture groomed them to be attracted to hairless prepubescent girls, not to adult women. Women grow hair. Seek help for your budding pedophilia."
So
That's a real tweet.
The two sides of this debate are that Rachel Zegler is a disgusting Ewok.
Yeah.
And then the other side is saying that if you aren't attracted to her back hair, then you're a pedophile.
Yes. This is the internet where you have to have the most increasingly ludicrous take on anything to gain any traction whatsoever.
Look, I'm just saying it makes it more evident that she shouldn't play a character that is canonically as white as snow. That's all I'm pointing out. I don't really particularly care about her back hair or whether she removes it. But you said that it seems a little bit spiritually gay to spiral about it and talk about it.
Well, yeah, like the idea is like, look, if a dude was in love with this woman, right? Is she in a relationship or?
She is. She's with that guy that was with. He was in the cast of the Hunger Games prequel.
Dude doesn't care. And if you're the dude who picks up a girl who looks like this at a nightclub and has sex with her in a one-night stand, you don't care either. And caring on the internet is also just weird to me.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you care? Like, let me rephrase. I understand why you care because she's been annoying for the last 2 years online, so it's room for dunking. I get that. but just let
Right.
the movie fail, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll fail on its own. You don't need to use Rachel Zegler's back hair to make Snow White fail. It was already going to do that.
Correct.
And here's the difference, though. If she had a visible mustache, then I would be a hater.
Okay.
That's different.
Front facing.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like, as long as she's not one of those celebrities with a side hustle selling backless gowns, I guess you shouldn't care.
Maybe she should. She can twist it into something profitable. But I saw this ridiculous headline in response. A bigot tried to body shame Disney's next Snow White for having back hair, and the takedowns were just magical.
God.
So this is actually a real article. For someone with a Latinx name, Trump fan David Santacarla has an awful lot of racist and sexist nonsense to say about Latina women. We won't trouble you with that, but one of his incel-adjacent comments went viral, largely because of how much the internet dragged him for it. That is not why it went viral. It went viral because most people were agreeing with him, admittedly. And this isn't the first time Rachel Zegler has been targeted by trolls for not being Barbie smooth. Her attitude is healthy and a lot more mature than the man babies calling her out. The latest attack on her backfired.
Get it? Because she's got back hair.
Backfired
That.
There's a 20 there.
spectacularly on the idiot who posted it.
There's a 20 there.
From the Crafty Raccoon, I don't know why we are so hung up on Rachel Zegler. Did we forget that Kendall Jenner quenched our racism with an ice cold
That's
Pepsi?
true. I remember that.
Yeah, how did she live that down? Nobody talks about that
You
ad
just keep
anymore.
moving. You just keep moving. Stay the course.
The Kardashians really have mastered that.
Yeah.
Rachel Zegler needs to learn from them. So, men discovers mammal has body hair. More at 11.
Look, okay.
Every day, men prove to me that they hate women for just existing.
The other argument that I hear to the counterpoint is like, look, women go on and on about their icks and their preferences. And if a guy's like, hey, he's like, hey, I really don't care. You just shouldn't have a back that looks like a lion.
Well, I wouldn't say it was that extreme.
I'm being hyperbolic, but the point is like
to be fair to Rachel Zegler's back hair.
Like if you've got your Tinder profile and it says no back hair, like you're fine. That's fine.
You would think that just goes unsaid.
You're allowed to have your preferences, but I guess I just don't feel any sympathy because I don't know.
So many men have clearly never seen a woman up close in their whole lives. Do you think that's a symptom of this discussion taking place?
No. No, I think it's more, this is how the evolution of the hatred for her has grown, and it's just everyone's built themselves up to the point where this is what they complain about. I don't think it's that they haven't seen any women naked in their whole lives.
Yeah, another one said, what's it like being your age and never having seen a woman naked before? It's the audacity to nitpick women's flaws while being ugly and having the worst hygiene for me.
Okay, so they're gonna go ahead and do twice as bad. You know, they're gonna double down on what they're complaining about. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Disney is gonna lose $300 million because incels on Twitter discovered that women have body hair. Men will shame women's body hair and then have more hair on their ass than their head.
Look,
okay, maybe that one is a little bit fair.
She could start a razor company and make a fortune. That's what she should do.
Yeah, she could have a brand deal with Nair.
Yeah, that's...
Maybe her boyfriend does that for her, and he's been busy for a while. I don't know. She's on the road. She's traveling. He's not with her all the time. He can't shave her back every day.
I see this, and I just feel like it's the evolution of all of the reasons to dunk on her, and it's just kind of gotten out of control.
It has gotten a little out of control, and that's why I understand something about people like Rachel Zegler or Meghan Markle. Like, they probably think to themselves all the time, I just can't win. It could be, I could do anything, I could say anything. People are going to get mad no matter what. And then they just end up like, they don't care anymore. They don't care about trying to reach people anymore and be personable. And then what results is an interview like the one that we just read from Rachel Zegler.
Yeah. Yep. And at a certain point, you almost can't blame her.
She
'cause
just
she knows
embraced being the villain.
She can't win.
Yeah.
Right? So, all right.
Too
Let's
late.
do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Phil. The mug is ordered to save the gongo. Does the mug come with packing peanuts, or are those separate?"
That would be a good idea.
If they ship those mugs with edible packing peanuts,
I don't think they're actually going to be shipping it with edible packing peanuts, just regular ones.
no, like some of them are edible though. Like I feel like you don't know that.
I don't know that.
That's
How edible? Like how
they're
edible?
they are edible. They're made of cornstarch.
Yeah.
Or like potato starch or
And
something.
they made edible so that way if a baby gets them, it's not going to actually.
Yeah, they said like if a dog ate it or something.
The online trend was people were putting like hot sauce on.
So
them
then
and
the
eating
question
them.
is, how much salt do you put on yours?
Oh, good question. Now I'm like craving it.
Now I'm craving packing peanuts.
What I like to do, because you saw me doing this, I get a plate of tortilla chips and then I just like cover it in salt. I just coat
It's just a vehicle.
every last chip in salt, and it's literally just like a salt. It's
They're
a
made-
vehicle for salt delivery at
They're
that
made
point.
from vegetable starch and are biodegradable.
Yeah, and you can check by running it under a faucet. If you run it
Oh.
under a faucet, it dissolves. That means that it's what's this?
That reminds me, I have cake pops.
Oh,
I don't know why packing peanuts reminded me that I have cake pops, but Olivia made cake
they're
pops.
edible.
Awesome.
They are edible. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants a cake
Well,
pop.
I mean, sure.
Well,
Sure.
You know, how can we say no?
I mean,
you want one?
we can't say
I
no to
had
that.
Taco Bell on the way in too.
You did.
Hand one to Mary.
There you go.
Thank you. Wow. Beautiful.
Yep.
Okay.
You
Cake
can
pop time.
you can thank Olivia.
Thank you, Olivia. We appreciate it. These were for episode 800.
Yeah, I
those
just
are
forgot
cool.
him yesterday.
And then nobody got to have any,
Yeah.
but it's fine.
Yep. Thank you, Olivia.
These are really delicious.
Yep.
Okay.
She needs to start her own baking channel.
Brian Bledsoe said, "Drove through Atlanta and saw that the Transforming Women Entrepreneurs Conference is today. Fist for the gongo." Oh, he said fist up for the gongo, not fist for the gongo. Yeah.
I can't wait till
Save
I
the
get my-
gongo.
my mug.
Olivia's in the chat. She says, "You're welcome, friends." Do two more.
JJ said, "Hi, Mary. You ever dye your hair in dark colors before?" Yes, I have dyed my hair. Let's see. Blue.
The blue hair has been seen on this
Wait,
channel
no.
before.
First, pink, blue, purple, red, black. All those.
The black is no surprise.
Yeah, black was the one that I had before going like bleach blonde, which was a nightmare. And it didn't suit me so well, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Are you going to do the split down the center, white and black?
No, I mean, I just feel like I would feel juvenile at this point, dyeing my hair something
you are
crazy.
juvenile.
Hey,
What?
That was rude.
I'm very mature. I'll have you know.
As she eats a packing peanut.
Yeah.
Do one more.
High Voltage 75 said, "You missed a fun show yesterday, Phil. Tim was even dancing to the Crisis Party."
I mean,
Was he? Well, no, he was raising the roof. I
yes,
remember.
like it's his own fault. It's the crisis parties were his idea. It's his own
right.
fault. All right.
How can you hate?
Let's move on. I know how much you guys love it when we talk about Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and Justin Baldoni. So let's give an update.
Well, it feels like the Lively Baldoni legal battle hasn't taken a major turn in recent days. But earlier this week, Ryan Reynolds filed to dismiss Justin Baldoni's lawsuit. And then Blake Lively followed quickly after, also filing to dismiss. And I just find the way that they worded this letter to the judge so hilarious, because you can really read it in Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool voice.
Everything that he says, you can read in his voice. It's
Like,
really weird.
he kind of cooked Justin Baldoni in this. Like, I'm not gonna say that Justin Baldoni like deserved to have his life ruined or anything, but like, I personally find Ryan Reynolds more relatable, as strange as that sounds, compared to Justin Baldoni, because Justin Baldoni's like, he's so nice, he has his head in the clouds, and he's so perklempt all the time. I don't like people who are heavy-handed with the hugging and the spirituality and the
we get what
it
you're
gives
saying.
me the ick.
It's see right there.
And-
Men don't want back hair, and women don't want whatever Mary just said.
And Ryan Reynolds is appropriately cutthroat, cold-blooded, and sociopathic for my taste. That's just, I mean, I feel like that's fitting for him.
Appropriately.
Yeah.
Is the key word there.
Yeah, you can hear that in the way they word this court document. So they're referring to the amended complaint from Justin Baldoni's team and his Wayfarer Studios. The first amended complaint seeks to fulfill that promise by polluting the court's docket with hundreds of paragraphs of clickbait designed for an audience other than this court, with virtually no bearing on legal claims. So basically they're saying that Justin Baldoni's team is a bunch of social media clout chasers, and they're trying to get the internet on their side instead of the jury, which is kind of true. I mean, his lawyer is doing interviews with TMZ and courting as much public attention to this case as possible, and it is working.
Yeah.
I think there's an inevitability that that's going to influence the jury. So ultimately it's to help Baldoni's chances here. But they go further to say that the Wayfarer party's so-called receipts include excerpts of emails, text messages, videos, and photographs, such as large photographs comparing Ryan Reynolds' long hairstyle in a movie, they're referring to Deadpool and Wolverine, with Justin Baldoni's long hairstyle at some point in his real life. So they're referring to the character of Nice Pool, which all but allegedly was based on Justin Baldoni. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds allegedly created Nice Pool in order to mock Justin Baldoni in front of a huge audience in a blockbuster movie. And they actually did it really well. I didn't know at the time that it was based on Baldoni, but now looking back at it in context, I fully support their right to
make fun of someone,
make fun of him, and also like show him in gruesome scenes where you're seeing Nice Pool get just showered with bullets that are literally being shot by Blake Lively's character, Lady Pool, and he's being used as a human shield by Deadpool. And through all of that, still with his man bun intact, defending his feminist woke principles. I think that they were hoping to get away with it, and they were hoping no one would notice, and it was just going to be an inside joke. That didn't work out, but they've basically admitted at this point that it was based on him. So they went further on in this court document to say, the entirety of Baldoni's defamation claim appears to be based on 2 times that Ryan Reynolds allegedly called him a predator. But their complaint alleges no plausible facts that suggest Ryan Reynolds didn't believe his comment to be true. So he was just defending his woman, and in his opinion, Justin Baldoni is a predator. Even if the complaint plausibly alleged that Ryan Reynolds called Baldoni a predator while believing the opposite, which it doesn't, the law establishes that calling someone a predator amounts to constitutionally protected opinion. And Justin Baldoni's thin-skinned outrage over a movie character, Nice Pool, the satirical, woke Nice Pool, does not even pretend to be tied to legal claims. Instead, it falls into the general allegation of hurt feelings, which in reality is nothing more than a desperate effort to advance the same curated bully image that the Wayfarer parties created and disseminated in their retaliation campaign launched against Blake Lively in 2024. So basically what Ryan Reynolds is saying is, don't cry over spilled milk, Justin. I was just playfully making fun of you.
It was just a joke, man.
Stop being so sensitive, bro.
It's just a prank, bro.
It was literally just a prank. Like, why are you freaking out?
If you were a YouTuber, everybody'd hate him because everybody hates prank YouTubers.
Yeah. But, honestly, I support it. Like, I support their specific type of toxicity. And I think they were having an absolute blast writing a script about this guy that they both hate.
I guess in a way I can appreciate somebody spending as much money as it probably costs to make fun of the guy, but I still hope that Justin wins just because, just to be contrary.
No.
But it's like, I
He's a
feel like
feminist
I'm
now.
actually taking the contrarian take at this point. Most people are pro Baldoni and anti Lively. I'm not even pro Blake Lively. I'm just anti Justin Baldoni. Phil, I assume you're on the same page with me about
yes,
this?
I'm. Well, I mean, so I think that I have a generally positive opinion of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. I'm not super deep in the weeds on, were they nice to people on set or whatever. And I don't like feminists. So I generally have a positive outlook on Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, and I don't like feminists. So, that means that
We're favorable to the power couple in question.
Absolutely.
And I heard a wild theory on Candace Owens' show the other day about this whole situation.
Wild on Candace Owens? You might be kidding me.
She suggested that it's possible that Ryan Reynolds is actually gay. That he's actually gay, and that Blake Lively is Ryan Reynolds' beard. And that he might even be in a secret relationship with Hugh Jackman, who also had a beard. 13 years his
they were
senior.
married for however many years and they just got divorced.
And that woman was much older than him at the time. And then Blake Lively, on the other hand, she's the perfect beard because she's so hot. Everyone just thinks, like, of course, like, you're attracted to her. She's hot.
They have kids?
They have many.
I have many kids. Not like one kid and then stopped, like a Russian spy couple that had to procreate.
Not even a surrogate, nothing.
Not even a surrogate.
No
like,
shady
like,
stuff.
okay. Yeah, I don't think that that's true.
And maybe Ryan Reynolds was jealous of Blake Lively for getting to kiss Justin Baldoni because he's gay.
Unless there's some type
all
of
sorts of
crazy
tales.
security footage that confirms this, I'm going to go ahead and say that's not true.
Does he give you gay vibes?
No.
Okay.
No, he gives me
Yeah,
frat
he never
bro-
really gave me
he
gay
gives me
vibes either.
frat bro vibes.
I don't know what vibes Ryan Reynolds gave me, but I never really did like him until now. Then we have an official response from Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, over this new dismissal motion. He said, Ryan Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse. Ryan Reynolds was a key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME, their talent agency, into dropping him as a client, and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible. His fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and Wayfarer team since day one. Ryan Reynolds now attempts to reduce plainly cognizable claims to hurt feelings, sending a clear message that bullying is acceptable. After lighting a match, Ryan Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work. The Wayfarer party's claims against him are real, and they are serious. Ryan Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants, and feebly try to make light of his current situation, but we will not stop until he is held accountable for his actions. And then Blake Lively followed this up just a couple of days later with her own motion to dismiss herself from the lawsuit as well. It would be funny if only Ryan Reynolds was going to file to dismiss himself and just leave Blake Lively to the wolves.
Then maybe he is gay.
Yeah, so she's following the same game plan. She filed her motion to dismiss today. According to documents, she says that Justin Baldoni is actually violating the law by filing his lawsuit against her because it's all been done for revenge.
Is there a way to like quantify that in legal terms?
So she says under California law, Justin Baldoni is barred from suing her based on her accusing him of sexual harassment, meaning he's hitting her with a retaliatory
nobody's
lawsuit.
ever filed a countersuit before.
It's
That's never
lawfare.
happened.
It's lawfare, which is why she wants the judge to dismiss his suit against her. Blake's lawyers say that Justin and Wayfarer Studios have created more liability for themselves by their malicious efforts to sue her into oblivion. The liability will come in the form of a lot of money. Blake says that Justin will have to pay her legal fees plus massive damages for having filed this kind of suit against her. She also addresses the bullying narrative that Justin Baldoni's team put out, claiming that Blake and Ryan are using their A-list Hollywood power to bully him. According to the docs, it's actually Justin doing the bullying, with a lawsuit designed to further his sinister campaign to bury and destroy Lively for speaking out about sexual harassment.
Wait, so they get his talent agency to drop him. Colleen Hoover denounces him, and he's bullying them.
And like almost everybody denounced him.
Yeah.
Even other co-stars on the same movie.
I disagree with them here.
Yeah.
In the most boring way possible. I kind of hope they get their comeuppance. Not that's not me caping for some dude who's a male feminist, but for all intents and purposes, he's happily married. He seems to be a family man. He's raising his kids. They're always they always seem to be happy and together. Who am I to say that he should have his life ruined and in turn his family's life ruined because these two don't know how to work it out together? Like I just don't know.
I fear this is a win-win situation for me because either way, someone's gonna get their comeuppance. I'd rather Justin Baldoni get his comeuppance, really, for throwing other men under the bus.
He kind of wins either way because it's raised his profile enough that he'll probably get enough work long term for everything to be okay. You know, like his star has significantly risen in this time period, far more than theirs has.
We need the Pac-Man movie.
Yes, we do need
the culture needs the Pac-Man movie.
I mean,
he's a genius.
He's gonna make the Miss Pac-Man.
He's an auteur of a generation. Clearly, we need him in this industry. It would be a grave loss if he were bullied out of it.
Look, I don't care. Like, I get it. He's a male feminist. He's in your point is valid before about what he said about listening, believing. It's all stupid. But depending on how you feel about principle, just because a guy says something stupid that you vehemently disagree with that even counters his own beliefs, it depends on how rigidly you believe in your own principles. That, like, even a dude who you despise who has said stuff that is contrary to the good of society, does that guy also deserve to be the victim of his own words, or do you feel differently? And that's depends on where it draws the line there. I just don't think Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively are worth getting excited for in any shape or form.
I will just say, like, for what it's worth, It Ends With Us sucked as a movie. The drama is way more entertaining. The actual movie itself was a huge letdown, and it was an activist movie from the start. It was about raising awareness, and it was slow-moving, boring, clumsy, poorly scripted.
Well, the Pac-Man movie will make up for that, I'm sure.
It better.
I mean, it'd be really funny.
Better.
I would, however, support if Ryan Reynolds bought out the rights to it and made a Miss Pac-Man movie with her.
Yes.
That would be funny.
I want them to get into a movie war.
That would be good. All right, let's finish the Super Chats.
Greg Duvier said, I'm guessing with the GONGO merch, we did not get enough Super Chats to save it yesterday. No. Yeah, we're still in the process of fundraising for the GONGO. So if you really cared, you would buy a t-shirt and a mug right now. If you really cared about the GONGO.
I bought a mug at the beginning of the show.
Thank you.
Saying,
Thank you for your
y'all
efforts.
should too. Save the GONGO.
If you're really a virtuous person, you would buy this mug right now. Brian Bledsoe said, need the USPCC logo shirt too.
Yep.
The USPCC.
Look, the government isn't going to defund us. They've already done all their defunding.
Weary Traveler said, happy 801st episode. I celebrated by supporting the Gongolese via buying a coffee mug. Phil, are you a fan of either Slipknot, Cradle of Filth, or both?
I really like Slipknot. I am not a particular fan of Cradle of Filth. I'm not really into black metal, but I respect Danny for having the long and storied career that he's had. But I really like Slipknot.
Shane H. Wilder said the Looney Tunes movie that came out over the weekend only made $6.1 million worldwide. It only cost $15 million, so it might break even, but doubtful.
Again, I don't really care. Anything that annoys the people that hate David Zaslav, I'm okay with.
Well, there was no marketing for it.
There's a particular type of annoyance I get with it's kind of like the Hollywood AI discussion when Hollywood celebrities get on their high horse about AI. Even if I see every single point they're making, I can't help but want to take the contrary opinion because they're annoying. Like the people who have criticisms of David Zaslav shelving perfectly reasonable projects that probably have an audience is valid. You're just annoying, so I don't care. I'm petulant that way.
There's a stick of dynamite at the end of every movie and TV show at Warner Brothers, and he's like comically far away, lighting the wick. Okay, I don't know if I want to read this username again.
That's okay.
I'm not going to read that. I wonder what else these attacks have in common. Well, we don't have to wonder because I just said it. I just said it out loud. Andimus said Netflix is making new conservatives.
I mean, that's assuming that the people watching it, again, the people watching that movie would have to do what? I guess look on the internet for news stories about it and then read this interview with the director, which people who are going to watch the show just aren't doing. They're just scrolling Netflix when they're done with work. This doesn't, I don't know if it creates new conservatives, but the articles might create new conservatives, but I don't know if the show itself will do that.
It looks like it's a well shot TV show though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not a fan of that very like yellowish, desaturated, almost opaque, like, you know, like the flecks of white in it, like it's been tinged with like lack of contrast.
Look, I'm not an expert.
I don't like it. It's too like the cinematography is too soft for my liking.
I don't
Really?
Yes.
Cinematography like that can ruin a movie for you.
For me, I mean that type of cinematography is very common now because HD cameras have really high dynamic range, which means there's very little in the way of shadows, and it just looks very.
This is going to be a problem with Snow White this evening.
I mean, that's going to be all CGI, so it's not even the camera; it's just all CGI.
I'm going to walk out and I'm going to be like, I love how they didn't use CGI. It felt
that would be
real.
really funny. Like, did you see how real the I mean, I'm so happy for those dwarves.
Yeah. Yeah. Couldn't tell. Deep South EDC said, do y'all think Bon Jovi will return to do the Young Guns 3 soundtrack? LOL.
If I understand correctly, Bon Jovi is having issues singing the way that he used to, and that's because of his age, if I understand correctly.
Is he a smoker?
I don't know, but he's like
What's
70 something, and his range is not what it used to be.
He needs to get Jake Bon Jovi to do it.
Who's Jake, his son?
His son is.
Can his son sing?
20 years old. I guess if he could, then we would know.
Yeah, we would know by now.
Yeah, guess not. Can you imagine? You're a Bon Jovi son and you can't sing for shit.
No, I mean, that's like the thing is like whenever it's like some type of creative celebrity, if the kid doesn't go into the same business, they go into something else. They go into banking or
he's an actor, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I thought there had to be some kind of genetic component. Gordon Shumway said Megan Fox found out talking shit about Michael Bay was leprosy in Hollywood. Well, she got pregnant like after that, right?
I mean, after the.
I think she was.
No, that would have been between movies 1 and 2.
Between 1 and 2.
Oh no! What year did you say it was? 2008? Because the Revenge of the Fallen came out in 2009.
Let me see. She got married to Brian Austin Green in 2010. So I'm guessing that she had her first kid in 2010.
Okay, so after the second Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, point still stands.
Yep.
The randomness of Angela said, by the way, I think you're all cool. You're not piece of meat, silly guys. Yesterday was my first live and first comment.
Well, you joined us on an absolutely chaotic show, so we're glad that you are here. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for coming back today after all of the chaos.
I'm glad that you think more of us than that we're pieces of meat.
I know that's a big concern for me, guys. Yeah. It's a big concern for me.
Weary Traveler said, I feel like Rachel Zegler should take a note from Jenna Ortega. False. Because I would like to remind you of a clip of Jenna Ortega in an interview with a similarly annoying journalist who says to Jenna Ortega, I just want to let you know that you are Latina enough. And then Jenna Ortega literally starts crying. What do you mean? Like, you just sit around all day thinking about the fact that you're not Latina enough? What is wrong with you? You have brain worms.
How can you be a famous person that's in movies and stuff like that and be that needy for validation?
Well, that's actually why they are in that business in the first place.
I don't know.
Thank you.
At least that's my theory.
Second time today that I've been talking and this thing starts.
It usually happens that way.
No, the crisis meter hates you.
All right.
What were you saying?
I don't understand why. I don't think that people are actors because they need validation. I don't think that's typical. I don't think it's typical, because there's a lot of actors out there, and not all of them are incredibly insufferable.
Yeah.
Like what's her name is.
Or that just means they're better at hiding it.
I mean, maybe, but I don't think that like, I mean, I'm in a role that's like fairly high profile when it comes to my job, and it's like I'm not in a band because I need some kind of validation, and I think that that comes across, generally here. I don't walk around like asking you guys, check out the new All the Remains thing, see what I did, see what
He asks us to take his coat when he arrives.
Yeah,
Could
right.
you put this in the closet?
So I'm not sure that that's actually true. I think it's I think that there are some people that need validation more, and that kind of thing where someone would be like, "Oh, you're Latina enough," and to start crying over it, that's
like if one day I walked up to Tim and I was like, "You're Asian enough," and then he's just like
starts crying.
Yeah, like I just
like I can't get over that. It's like so self-indulgent,
it is
childish.
It is.
So yeah, clearly like Jenna Ortega is better in interviews, but she's still, she leans that way. They're all like that, especially the younger generation.
It matters how often it happens and what project you're involved. Do you even remember the project that it was? Was it Beetlejuice where she said that?
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, Beetlejuice
But that's because I'm me and I'm researching these things.
Beetlejuice was successful, I guess, but Beetlejuice is not Snow White.
It was really successful for what it's worth, yeah. Shane H. Wilder said Mary's snooty Latina voice is on point, LMFAO. Yeah, you're Texan, right? So maybe you're in authority on that. I hope I did a good job. Isaac S. said, petition to have Rachel Zegler have her back hair donated to make clothes for the needy Gongo children. Yes, a nice soft Rachel Zegler's back hair sweater.
Feel like
keep you warm at night in the
store.
Gongo. Yeah. Baron of Grey Matter said backless gowns for furries. Her next product line. Kenneth Hart said, Brett, if you do episode 1000 in Portland, let me know. You can get an IRL tour of my semi-truck. Yard is only 5 minutes from the airport.
I do love the videos featuring semi-drivers going, like, detailing their routines in their days.
You can go, like, inside the semi-setup.
Well, they've got their PlayStation, they got their PS5, they've got their flat screen TV, they got the grill. There's something about those videos where it's like, here's me camping in the woods, and then 90% of the video is them cooking.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm not so sure how true that stuff is, though.
Well, I mean, they're not saying they do it all the time. They're saying it's like we talked about yesterday. When you make a day in the life video, it's never an actual day in your life. It's never how your life actually
You should
happens.
make a day in the life video.
No.
I want to see a day in Phil's life.
No.
No?
No.
People can't know that much.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't want videos of my home. I don't want videos of my
Well, there's that.
my girlfriend. I don't want videos of my dog. I'm not gonna share that stuff at all.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of swattings going on nowadays.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
There's all kinds of
Is that still
crazy...
going on? Like more cases
real
are
hard,
happening?
real bad, yeah. I own a Tesla. I don't want someone coming in and, trying to... Nah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Just no.
No.
Shane H. Wilder said this is a non-issue when the movie itself looks like ish. Although the I can shave her made me laugh. That was a good one.
I actually hope I like it just to make everybody mad. It's my
That's what you said before we started. Brett was like, I'm just going to like it.
I said, I hope I like it. I said, I hope I like it. So, because both of the worst groups are online fighting right now, which is the Disney early access shills. Not even the ones who gave it the 45% Rotten Tomatoes review, but the early access screening social media reviews, which is Rachel Zegler is a comet that's flying to Earth.
A shining
supernova of amazingness, as I said.
Amazingness.
And then the other people are like, somebody gives it like a timidly positive review. They're like, yeah, it was fine. Like, oh yeah, where's your Disney check?
Rachel Zegler as Snow White is a shining supernova of amazingness.
So I want both of those people to fight consistently, and it makes me want to like the movie just to annoy them.
I would love that.
Yeah.
I think our review is probably going to be negative, but I would like to disagree because that's fun. I'm mostly just looking forward to eating popcorn and Raisinets.
There you go.
That's going to be the highlight of my night. Also, username I'm not going to read. Bitch looking like Chewbacca on the red carpet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Stefan Buttle said Trump is saving the Congo via minerals deal.
But is he saving the Gongo with
Why
a
are you
minerals
focused?
deal?
How can you be focused on the Congo when there is a femigenocide in the Gongo?
Yep.
You absolute cretin.
Hardened Soul says in the chat says Department of Education just got nuked by Trump executive order. Well, maybe we can take all of them and set up a Department of Education in the Congo so that we can start getting them into schools and then building out infrastructure.
Doesn't that have to go through the courts?
You would think, right? I'm sure it will be shot down by judges.
Like they shot down the transgender military service one too. So I'll believe it when I see it. Seth Essington said this chat might need a regular mod presence. How bad is it getting?
Oh.
I'm not looking at it. I never do.
No.
So I don't know.
I don't really look at the chats either.
But I'd like to believe that
it's nothing but
you're better
positive,
behaved.
respectful stuff, and they've said nothing but nice things about Rachel Zegler the whole show.
Okay, good. Shane H. Wilder said, if Baldoni wasn't a male feminist, I would be on his side, but he set himself up. As it is, let him reap what he sows. Believe all women, right? Yeah, I mean, I think that he would have rejoiced at the downfall of another falsely accused man, so it is what it is. Omega Red Fan said, yeah, man, the CGI back hair looked so real. They're just adding more back hair on Snow White for dramatic effect. I don't remember you being this hairy and opinionated.
Gal Gadot shows up in a dress like, see, look at my back hair. None. My back is just
She's like
silky smooth.
Trying to show the mirror on the wall, like, look, I don't have back hair. How's she the fairest in the kingdom? No control.
My goodness.
What'd you say?
I said, oh my goodness.
No Control said Bon Jovi's range is only halfway there.
Okay.
Shane H. Wilder said, you are all Knuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane.
Thank you so much.
And one more.
Weary Traveler said, a day in Phil's life. Wake up, yell, let's go, praise Apple, own libs.
I did see today.
Forgot the left lane.
I did see today that they said Apple Studios, like Apple TV, loses $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
And I said, I kind of love that it's just because they don't market anything and nobody knows anything about Apple TV. 90% of people don't know it exists.
They marketed Severance pretty hard.
I mean, as Apple TV, people know what Severance is. They're like, what streaming service is that on?
Yeah.
I said, however, they should make a show about the firing of Apple TV executives and call it Severance, because that would actually be perfect. I kind of appreciate Apple TV just kind of losing money because they make $8 gazillion billion a year. Apple does, so they can just write it off.
It's a vanity project for them.
Just like Amazon Prime. Just like Amazon Prime.
Yeah. I mean, there was a time where, I don't know if this is still the case, but there was a time in the past 5-10 years or so where Apple had more money than the U.S. more cash on hand than the U.S. federal government.
Yep. Oh. What was the deal? I saw some studio got bought for cash recently, and I was just picturing how they actually deliver.
A big one?
No, not a. I mean, it was several $100 million, but it was how do you do that?
In cake pops.
Yeah, that would be good. Chat, how's it going? Because we're just hanging out. We gotta hang out till 5.
I'm unreasonably excited to eat Raisinets. It's been years. Highly underrated candy, by the way.
It's very good that you didn't give up candy for Lent.
Yeah, but who does that? Then it's you eat candy once a month and you're gonna give that up. That's a cheat code.
I kind of feel like there's a lot of people that eat candy more than once a month.
I mean, I would more likely. I don't know. I'm just not.
Bro, if candy was good for you, if this counts as candy, I'm not 100% sure. Depending on people, some people think of candy only as hard candy, and other stuff is not candy. But if Reese's, Christmas trees, and bunnies, and pumpkins,
the ghosts,
any of the predominantly peanut butter, if that stuff were good for you and didn't make you fat, I would gorge those every single day.
I don't know why, but don't the shaped ones just taste better?
They're better because there's more peanut butter compared to the amount of chocolate.
That's true.
That's why they're better.
I
100%.
knew it. Yeah.
And
Which
you're
ones?
right. Yes, they are better, but they're better because of the peanut
The
butter
Reese's
content.
that are shaped like different things.
Christmas trees, pumpkins,
seasonally.
rabbits, or no eggs.
So more peanut butter than chocolate.
More peanut butter than chocolate. Everything, all the other, like the peanut butter cups, they don't have as much peanut butter to the ratio of peanut butter to chocolate is not as.
But you know the
as-
worst? They make those health food Reese's cups with the dark chocolate,
ugh,
and then there's like just really like natural
Ugh.
peanut butter inside.
Yeah.
It's
Ugh.
like if I'm gonna eat candy, I'm just gonna eat the real thing.
The I like the Reese's cups with like Reese's Puffs on the inside.
What?
Yep.
I've never tried
It's a
that
real
before.
thing.
That sounds good. We have 2 more. Dingus Khan said Nestle Bunch of Crunch and popcorn is fire. What is Nestle Bunch of Crunch?
No idea.
I've never heard of this stuff.
It's a candy bar.
Weary Traveler said Junior Mints is the scholar's choice of movie candy.
No.
No. Just
No.
no, and just another no.
I
might get
never-
M&Ms too.
Junior Mints are something you eat at your grandma's house when she's out of those little like red watermelon ones.
So did we come to those? Does that count as candy?
Which one?
Which
The
ones?
Reese's cut, like the
Oh,
peanut
yeah.
butter
Yeah.
pile. Okay,
100%.
great. All right.
I mean, what crazy who's saying that's not
Making
candy?
excuses. They're like, oh,
that's
this isn't candy.
That's me when I'm saying
So-
I'm eating healthier. I'm like, I'm not eating any candy. It's like, aren't you eating those Reese's? I'm like, well, yeah, but
Some people, because of the fact that it's not like, some people think of candy as only like the hard sugar candy or things that are made of like
Gummies?
sugary stuff, gummies and stuff. Whereas
So that would be
something like
chocolate?
something like the Reese's and stuff, those might be just generalized junk food. Because
Yeah, that's crazy.
that's you know,
crazy.
Okay.
Wild take.
I was like, is it in the junk food aisle at the grocery store or is it in the candy aisle at the grocery store?
Okay,
That's
all
what I
right.
want to know.
All right.
Think. Shane H. Wilder said, I'll pray for you, Brett and Mary, as you undergo your Lenten penance tonight. Yeah, I said on Twitter, like, just give me the poison apple. I can't do this. I can't really make myself go through this. And also, we both went to bed super late last night.
Yeah,
That was just random.
Me
We both.
and Olivia were at the vet until 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So we got home at 3:30, which means I didn't get to bed until 4:30 or 5.
We're gonna sit there and
this is-
then the lights are gonna go down and we're just gonna be
fall
like
asleep. And this is the thing that I'm almost convinced happened with Wonka too, is that if I had had more sleep and been in a better mood when I went to Wonka, 99 times out of 100 I end up liking that movie. But because I was in a bad mood prior to going to the movie, it affected my opinion of the film.
Yay,
And-
Angry Brett tomorrow and we review it.
Yeah, that
Get
or
extra
maybe
salty Brett.
or maybe I'll be super delirious and I'll actually think it's the greatest movie ever made.
There's
know.
that possibility. I'm gonna need to like go Looney Tunes with the snacks though, so I don't fall asleep.
Yeah, I don't think I've fallen asleep at a movie since whatever that Kenneth Branagh one was that we saw.
I swear, I was asleep for like 50% of Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
During that car chase scene, you know the one, I was just gone.
Dial of Death. You were asleep during a car chase, huh?
Whatever the one was, it wasn't Death in the Nile. It was the one after that that we saw.
Oh, I also slept in the middle of Oppenheimer as well.
Really? Oppenheimer was good.
During the explosion.
The
explosion scene. Because it was silent and I was like, oh, it's so quiet and peaceful in here. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the explosion was actually kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, it was designed
seemed
to
like it was
be-
regular. It seemed like it was a regular explosion, not like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah.
And I just have this and it's just my imagination, but I imagine nuclear explosions being different to regular fireball explosions. But
Yeah.
Didn't they film a real explosion though for that?
It became a meme where they're like Christopher Nolan setting off actual
Am I wrong?
nukes to
They did,
do
right?
practical effects. Some
That was
very,
like a
very
big
large
cell.
scale explosion was done to make it look more realistic.
yeah, but
They're
it
like-
didn't look like a nuclear. Like if you Google like HD Castle Bravo, the Castle Bravo, which is the biggest biggest thermonuclear bomb that the United States ever blew up, but it looks very different from like a regular like fireball explosion.
Yeah.
And like the gasoline explosions or explosions that are conventional, they look different than nuclear explosions. And I really was like, oh, that didn't look like a nuclear explosion.
Yeah. It was done in an avant-garde way.
Yeah.
The mushroom cloud wasn't mushrooming. It wasn't giving.
It didn't
what it was
mushroom
supposed
enough.
to give.
All right. Is there one more there?
Shane H. Wilder said, I mean, technically I gave up candy because I gave up all snacks, no chips, no ice cream, just regular meals or nothing. Yeah, but then I would just, if I came up with a rule like that for myself, I'd be like, oh, this isn't a snack. This is like a meal, though. And I would just endlessly debate with myself about that.
That's that's why you're as smart as you are, right? Because you're constantly like making your brain think.
That's why I studied.
Exactly. Yeah, you took the advice
Have you
Luke
ever just
Belmar.
sat down with a piece of paper and just brainstormed?
Bro, you got a mastermind.
You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Brainstorming what?
Just brainstorming.
Just masterminding.
I feel like there's usually a direction that you're trying to go in with brainstorming, because I've brainstormed for like titles or lyrics or, you know.
You
like
doing that
stuff
on
like
a piece of paper? You writing it down?
Usually I got a
phone.
Typing it on my phone.
Everybody masterminds differently, guys.
High Voltage 75 said no more sneaking in food, Mary. Not this time, at least.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean I'm not sneaking in the candy. I'm not buying the movie theater candy.
All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here and you have not subscribed already, thank you guys for that. Phil, let everybody know they can find you.
I'm Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains Official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. Our new record dropped on January 31st. It's called Anti-Fragile. You can check it out on YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer. And The Left Lane is for Crime.
Perfect.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
There's one more from Gordon Shumway who says the whatchamacallit is a very underrated candy bar.
Whatchamacallit is good.
I haven't had that
I've never
in a very
even
long
seen
time.
or heard of that.
Really?
It's a thing.
It's good.
It's a thing. Iconic logo. Guys, if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, guys, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would like to listen rather than watch, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That is another great way to help the show out. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. I think there's one more there.
Dr. Larsena said, Mary be so cool she doesn't just walk away from explosions, she sleeps through them.
Impressive.
And
one
true.
more, and one from Shane H. Wilder.
Peanut or plain M&Ms? Plain.
Crispy.
Yeah. What?
Crispy M&Ms.
Oh, the pretzel kind?
No, pretzel's different. Crispy's different than pretzel.
I don't even know.
Yeah. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. Wish us luck for Snow White. It's going to be awful. See you then, guys.
Bye.